Yes, that was a nice tune, I have to say. So today I've been working a little bit regarding my things with they call it municipality. I had this letter to
Municipal Manager Health, Social Care and Care.
That is the title of her employment in the municipality. So I had this thing going. I think it's quite interesting to work with empowerment in a different degree, in my own way, and that developed from user involvement. I got a course in this I want to get it right. User participation. We got courses in that because it is mended in the constitution, the law for this country, that you have participation. What is participation? Is it a partisan? No, no, it is. It is a partisan that you, on your behalf, partake in the decision making. That is participating. You are involving yourself in to the degree that the end result will be also according to your will, your involvement. The degree, the result is to the degree that you have conveyed the brightest, the best to your knowledge and experience, the attributes that is concerned to the end result. So if you didn't participate, you are just high and mighty in the chair where you have a so-called title of you are involving yourself, but you are not active. You are just there to have some importance of a status. So, where did I get lost here? No, I think what I have been working on is to see that letter where, but it did not. The organization Mental Health, they were not invited, they were not participating with the involvement from the psychiatric side, those that suffer from mental issues. It can be any mental issues. I don't diverge. It is a general statement, and it should be so because every person, individual, has some kind of a mental health. It's kind of an obvious case that it is the way we take our daily life, how we either suffer or succeed, or both ways. It can be both, because if you are suffering, you find ways to deal with the situations. And that kind of experience that you have by undergoing some degree of mental tormenting or mental things, that you are like when you are so fatigued, when you have been outburnt, as they say. Let me Google that. When you are burnt out, maybe you have to polarize that expression. When you are burnt out, you feel it more to the bones, as I would express. You feel it really. You are drained down. You are so fatigued that you have no energy. And energy is very much connected to the mental state of yours. As my father and mother, maybe a little bit less, but my father had this, I think he was very burnt out. And so I'm kind of burnt out in many ways. Not to talk about that, but we had a prime minister here, Bondevik, that started more or less in a modern time the awareness of the mental issues. If you are a director or a child, it could be any. We are just prejudiced enough to just categorize in which field we are working in order to have acceptance of such issues. But here, people in Norway have this resistance to admit their mental health. I grew up in Kenya, and I don't think it was not so much of an issue, because they were quite open and very direct. It was they didn't hide, as far as I would know, maybe more today, where the demands of success, ambitions, as I have been talking, is higher. That is somewhat a degree of demand that people suffer from. So even in Kenya or Africa or Asia, when the demands is so high, when the ambition is so high, you will suffer in the end. If it's only about you, but this is also regarding the society in large. If you are suffering under the demands of the society, ostracized, excluded, not being able to compare or compete or something. In Japan, that's so high suicide rate than I think in any comparable country. So this sign is a sign of mental issues. We have to be open about it. We can't just deny and reject. And here the department has resistance, or innate resistance against involving the organization mental health. It's an organization. It's not just a word here. It's an organization that concerns their work about issues regarding mental health. And in the Constitution, it's stated that both organization and individual can participate in the democracy. So in fact, when you gather all these things, I have been participating in a democratic way. It is a very obvious case for democracy that we participate with our experience. This Bondevik that was so worn out, overworking himself, and trying to cope and compete and be wherever he was to be. That took a toll on him. So he was the first to bring a modern perspective that even people in high positions, as he was Prime Minister, he had to have some time off. And I think that was a rather superficial way to view the issues about mental health. But in any way, it gave acceptance that since this man in his position, any man could suffer. And I think that being a kind of a mentor for both those that are serious, engaged in helping people to be open and to be honest in their own environment about mental issues. And there are movies like The Beautiful Mind that explains, I can recommend that movie because it is a beautiful movie about a man that it is a kind of a documentary, but it is not made as a documentary, it's made as a movie. And this man, it was about, he got the Nobel Prize for his mathematical calculations. Yet he was schizophrenic, or he had this disorder that he saw something else. He was working on large numbers and had his own reality with his own people around him that wasn't there, but he was talking with them, speaking with them, interacting with them as in reality, but it was not. He had this disorder, and his mathematics was so high. So I think that movie also proves that you are not a retard, you are not a dumb or foolish or idiot, you are just suffering. And maybe this video can contribute to that people that are suffering have behavioristic dissonance or disorder, or is not what is common regarded as normal behavior, but it is their behavior. And I say to people that feel they are not normal, you are normal you. Who you are is just to be normal this. I think that is a good way of seeing people. If they feel very awkward and very unnatural and very different from other people, I think it's a good saying that, and it is precise. I think it is more precise that people that have this is regarded as normal to themselves. We can't, even the best, can't compare his own. I talked a little bit about his Jordan Peterson, yesterday, about his more or less disorder. He was a very fast reader, and he had this temperament that maybe have pushed many people away, but he was just a serious guy. So I wrote these 2 letters to a politician and municipality chief. Let me see if I can get that. Manager of the municipality in health and social care. That was my intention, because the mental health was, the organization was not included since 2017, and that is some years ago, 6 years ago. This November will be 6 years ago. And it is very odd to experience that all I have been working for in 10 years in advance was for nothing. They didn't include the mental health, and the organization itself sabotaged itself from involvement. But I think that the letter to the statement that was agreed on should be followed up in any which way. So I wrote to this lady and reminded her of that. And I wrote to these politicians, this politician, Menzoni, and the lady, the lady manager was Kristin Liseth, and had my word to them that it should be kept. It should be mandatory to keep the letter and be responsible, take charge and be responsible, and the involvement, participation that people need to be on all levels, not only the blind and crippled, but also people that are suffering. And I think that administration and politicians, they have a rejection, they have a denial, more of a denial of this thing. They mix, for example, alcohol, intoxication, drug addiction and psychiatric. They mix that. The drug addicted are also suffering from mental issues. That is a clear case. It's maybe why they have ended up there. But I was warning or stating that to mix those 2 organizations is a wrong way to go. It will give more focus to one part than the other. And also in a practical administrative sense, it will be of a more engagement by the drug addicting organization, because they are new, they are upcoming, and they have got a lot of fundings. So we need more awareness on the mental health, and that is what I have been doing today, dealing with these 2 letters. In Norwegian I read them out loud, but I can't do that in English. but I can tell you about them. Okay, take care.